in the ever-dynamic world of business. It's not always our abilities, but the choices we make that define us. Over the past 16 years, India's longest-running show for entrepreneurs has saluted the men and women who have had the tenacity to think differently and think big. And let's hear from the dreamers and doers who are paving the road to profitability. Celebrating 16 years of Young Turks. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the face, the heart and the soul of Young Turks, Shireen Bhan.
Thank you so much for joining us here for the annual Young Turks Conclave. For 16 years, Young Turks has not just documented the making and rise of India's startup ecosystem, but it's also helped draw attention to the need to nurture a culture of starting up in this country. As the show turns 16, almost as if on cue, India's startups also seem to be coming of age. The heady pre-teen days of pushing the boundaries, testing the limits, tempting fate, defying logic seem to be winding down. I certainly hope that's the case. The last 2 years have taught us that our quest for disruption must also be rooted in the mundane, like unit economics. It's also highlighted the perils of spreading ourselves too thin. What does it take to code a winning start? That is our theme this morning. Just like everything, it starts in your head. While growing up, we've all been taught to fit in. But successful businesses stand out. Change the game to suit your strength. Iconic entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, and more recently Elon Musk have all understood the importance of leading the change. But if you can't be first, then you better damn make sure that you're very, very different. Focus on building value. The valuations will follow. Build a culture that encourages daily improvement with excellence being the end result. Build a team that shares your passion and make them co-travelers in your journey. Build a bridge to the future, but don't forget your past. Build a brand. Build a foundation that's based on trust. Build big, build small, but build with integrity and passion. And build to last. So let me end with something I remember reading. Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So be alive to possibilities, be alive to hope, be alive to your dreams, be alive to change. And I'd now like to invite on stage someone who started her career here at CNBC TV 18 as an intern and today is an assistant features editor. Shruti Mishra, please take over.
Now, over the years, we've realized that it is a matter of pride for startups to feature on Young Turks, and once they are a part of this community, it's a privilege for us to track their stories and share their successes like they are our own. Now, what better way to start our day than with something that promises to impact the Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem massively? I'm talking about the Startup India initiative that's empowering entrepreneurs to solve India's biggest problems and be the new job creators for our economy. Take a look at this audio visual.
From waste management to city planning, water agencies, to police departments, a host of civic tech startups are aiming to redefine the government on every level. How can the government, business and startups work together to realize the full potential of technology in transforming public services? CNBC TV 18 welcomes Mr. AMITABH KANT, Mr. PRIYANK, Mr. RAMESH ABHISHEK, Mr. Pramod Bhasin and Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal to the Young Turks Conclave. Startup India 2.0, empowering and enabling the Digital India Roadmap.
Well, it's my pleasure and privilege to be here at CNBC TV 18's Young Turks Conclave. And I'm here to talk about how Karnataka has been fostering innovation and startups. How many of you over here have read Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction author? Anybody? He always said that new ideas pass through 3 phases. 1 is it cannot be done. 2, it probably can be done, but it's not worth doing it. And 3, I knew it was a good idea all along. And the reason I'm harping on ideas or ideation is because this is the first step towards innovation and invention. And the government of Karnataka understands that the need of innovation is very important. And probably we are the only state in the country that enables ideation and has incorporated ideation into its first multi-sector startup policy. We run a program called NAIN, that's the New Age Incubation Network. This is run at college levels to encourage entrepreneurial ecosystem in the education system. The results were phenomenal with 74 working prototypes of this. And we had 20 companies incorporated by these students, and 12 patents were filed. We also have another important facet of our startup policy that's called the Idea to POC Fund. If any of the startups that is registered with us has a proof of concept or has an idea which can disrupt the vertical, we allow it to be showcased within a committee, and we give it a grant of up to 50 lakhs. And the idea of this is to act as a catalyst, facilitating the innovators to thrive and prosper. And probably the next big thing that we are about to do in Karnataka, we are going to run a program called Elevate 100. For the next 1.5 months, we will be traveling across the state to tier 2 towns and asking startups to come and pitch to the government directly. The idea is to ensure that we curate 1,000 startups, out of which 100 we help them succeed. So ideate, innovate, invent, and invest in Karnataka. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Our next speaker is someone who spearheaded the Make in India and Startup India campaign. Please put your hands together for CEO of NITI Aayog, AMITABH.
You know, I watch Young Turks very, very regularly, and every single edition of it. And let me tell you, it doesn't look 16-year-old. It looks very young, it looks very vibrant, and it's constantly innovating. So congratulations, Shireen, for this great job you've done for the last 16 years. You know, if India has to grow rapidly, if our ambition is to grow at 9 to 10%, you can't do this without technological leapfrogging. I think we need a huge amount of disruption in the way we manage our water, in the way we are able to provide seed and fertilizer to our farmers based on real time, in the way we are going to do electrical mobility. These are huge technological disruptions which are required in India. Now, failure is going to be a very integral part of it. Just don't worry. There's no big entrepreneur who's ever made it. There's no big disruptor who's ever made it without failing. And that's why the government has broadened the bankruptcy law. They brought in the bankruptcy law so that you can fail, get out of it, get cracking again, get out again, and get cracking again. That's the key thing. But you know, one of the key things we are trying to do from NITI Aayog, and you know, we are trying to disrupt the India's education system. Last year, we started close to about 500 tinkering labs in schools. And our experience has been that children have started playing with robots. They've started playing with 3D printers. We're going to, this year, do close to about 1,000 tinkering labs across India in schools. And it's not possible that India can do technological leapfrogging till we don't get into areas of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. We're the only country in the world with 1 billion biometric. We're the only country in the world with 1 billion mobile. We've pushed for the Jam Trinity. We've pushed for bank accounts. So you'll see a vast amount of disruption taking place in the financial technology sector. So what you're going to see is a disruption taking place all over of young people becoming job creators rather than job seekers. And that's what we want to push in a very big way. And the Young Turk movement has really been a great facilitator, a great catalyst in this movement, and let me compliment them, and we look forward to a great day today. Thank you very much, ladies.
I would now like to invite on stage our next enabler, Secretary DIPP, RAMESH ABHISHEK, who's clearly the man with the plan for converting vision statements into reality. A huge round of applause for Mr. RAMESH ABHISHEK.
I'll confine my comments to a presentation that I'd like to make, to give more of a report card on what has happened under Startup India Action Plan in the last about 16 months. We have been able to benefit more than 4,200 startups. 980 crores of funds have flown or been given to startups under various schemes. We had a definition of startups which were focused on innovation. We found from our feedback that it was a bit restrictive. So recently we have modified the definition and we have added the employment generation potential, scalability of wealth creation, and so on. This is the funding support. We had promised to set up a fund of funds of 10,000 crores. This is to be given in 9 years. Last year we could give 600 crores, and including the interest, this was committed to 17 venture capital funds by the SIDBI, which is implementing the program. And out of that, almost 55 crores have been disbursed. We are hoping to give this fund about 1,600 crore rupees more this year. This SIDBI are also operating other funds like India Aspiration Funds. You can see that in the last 1 year, the number of funds which have been given equity has gone up to 30. The amount committed has really multiplied to about 1,100 crores from 600 in the previous year. Credit Guarantee Fund, another 2,000 crore rupee fund that we are setting up. We have got the approvals from the Ministry of Finance. Hopefully by 15th August, we'll be able to roll it out. This gives support for to the lending institutions to guarantee giving of credit to the startups.
3 years from now, #1 startup nation in the world, because the momentum and the interest levels are huge.
Our fund fundamentum is set up with exactly this objective, that we want to back people who are built to last and not built to sell.
Celebrating 16 years of Young Turks.